isolated. I didn't have anyone and I was lonely. Brophy's given me a place to belong. I'm welcomed and accepted for being who I am, not for who other people want me to be.
I had really bad anxiety, especially when seeing Annie the first time. I didn't want to open up to her and let her know what I needed. With Brophy, it's different. They get to know you. It's a lot to explain, but they've helped me overcome so many things and it's really helped me.
When I look to my future for my son and I know, thanks to Brophy, that there's always going to be bigger and better things. I always know I've got ongoing support.
Life without Brophy's support was pretty much we were going to be homeless without them. So we're very, very thankful because they provide us a safe home, which is amazing.
When Brophy realised my potential and the fact that I was willing to pursue this dream, they've been throwing opportunities my way ever since. And I think the values I've learned by being involved with the Brophy community has really helped me take up every single opportunity.
Things don't come along your way all the time, and sometimes you will have to ask. When you reach out and ask for support, you become much lighter and feel much better about yourself.
Welcome to another episode of Come to Work With Me. I'm Audrey, and today we are joined by Josh and Maddie for episode 2, part 2 even, of our youth work chat. But before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we all meet from today. We'd like to acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging, and we'd also like to welcome all of our friends joining us from different schools across Australia today. Make sure that you let us know where you're joining us from. Now, Maddie, Josh, let's have a chat. How are you going?
Hi, Audrey. Good, thanks.
That is good. Maddie, you're well, I'm hoping? Yeah, beautiful. While Maddie's sorting that out, let's have a chat about who you are and what you do.
So obviously I'm Josh. Work at Brophy Family and Youth Services as a youth engagement worker. Brophy's a pretty big organisation. I think there's nearly, don't quote me, but about 180 people that work there. So there's plenty of people within the organisation, but our role is just like a general youth worker. So we do all sorts of stuff. We do one-on-one support, we do group work, we do projects with the community as well. So every day is a bit different. But yeah, it's a great role to have. Yeah.
Fantastic. And sort of, we just spoke about how you got into your role, and it was sort of a bit different to most youth workers, youth services, youth engagement officers, whatnot. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the role, and
So when I finished school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. So I had a year off, did a gap year, just worked, then went to uni. I started an arts degree, majoring in sociology, but I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So deferred that and then did some travel after that. I was DJing at the time as well. So I kind of wasn't as focused on getting a job because I was getting a bit of money to do that. So after a little while, realized I probably should start to think about my future and finish my degree, but didn't necessarily have a qualification like nursing or teaching or anything like that. But still the skills that I got were very valuable in any career, I think. So I don't regret going to uni at all. And then from there was working as manager of a venue for a couple of years. And then after that, obviously COVID happened and I didn't have a job. And there were 6 positions that came up because of working for Victoria. So I just applied for one of those, and lucky enough, even though I haven't done community services or anything like that, Brophy were great and they gave me an opportunity. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that. And it's been awesome ever since I started.
Fantastic. And it's definitely a sort of an industry that you want to stick with now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the scary thing is when you're trying to find a job is that you have to train or do stuff for a couple of years before you can actually do it. Like community services, I think the course is like 2 years possibly, and you've got to do placement and all that sort of stuff. So it was something that I'd always looked at and thought that would be cool, but never thought that I would want to go through that 2-year process. And I have a couple of kids as well, so I couldn't really take the time out to study again. I'd already been through that. So without the opportunity coming along, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I think youth work and sort of the community engagement sector, especially for young people, is an industry that is so important, especially in sort of country and regional areas. I think there is a higher demand for people like yourself to go out and have sort of an impact on these kids' lives. So I love what you're doing. Now, if there was something that you could tell your younger self, what would it be?
Just keep doing something positive. If you don't, like, you might not know what you want to do now, but if you like, I went to uni, which kept my options open after I finished. I guess if you, just make sure you keep doing something positive and keep trying. If you don't get what you want straight away, just keep working towards it. I do believe that you will get there eventually if you really want to.
Yeah, absolutely. With youth work, I know there is sometimes you've got your uni course, but you also have your TAFE course. And I think kids don't realise, especially in year 11 and 12, that it is also an option to study it at TAFE instead of uni. And I know that you sort of went a different way around it,
yeah,
which is great, but you still ended up in the same place. And I know I was going to speak with Maddie about this, but getting an ATAR is not necessarily the be all and end all. If you don't get the highest ATAR out there, it's not an issue. You can, start to study something else and eventually find your way. You can take a gap year. You can work in hospo for, 3-4 years and be like, okay, now I know what I want to do. And I really like with your story is that you started studying something completely different and now you're sort of in an industry you're going to be in forever. It's very, very cool. But I think something for young kids especially is knowing that there is options other than having to go to uni.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And even if you don't get the score to go to uni, if you once you get to 21, I think you are able.
What's an ATAR? When you get to 21, no one asks anymore.
Yeah. There's plenty of options out there. Just got to keep working towards what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Maddie, how are you going? Have we got a bit of audio now?
I think, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome.
Thank goodness.
We got there. Better late than never.
How fun is technology?
Oh, this Zoom thing while we're all working from home and stuff it's the best. Now let's hear a bit about you and your story.
Yes. Okay. So where do I begin?
Where do you begin?
So obviously, I grew up in Warrnambool, regional Victoria, completed year 12, and I guess the thing to do was go to uni straight out of school and study and get a job. And anyway, I would say I wasn't academically strong or just sort of was busy with other things. And the score that I received wasn't, good enough to enter what I wanted at uni. So I just entered the workforce and just started doing sort of your customer service, hospitality stuff. And then the years flew by and all of a sudden I was like, what am I doing with my life? So I was like, maybe I should try and see if I could do a little bit of study. So I decided to enroll in a Cert 3 at the local TAFE just to see if I could maybe manage that. And that went really well. So, and then I kind of was like, well, now I don't really know what to do either. So I decided to move to Melbourne, flip my life upside down and move to the city. And then once I was there, I was like, how do I meet people in the city? So I decided to enroll at Swinburne and do my diploma of community services, which was incredible. And completed that. And I was looking for employment in Melbourne, but COVID hit. COVID happened. I decided to come home and have been here ever since. I was so lucky to come across this job at Brophy in Warrnambool and been loving it ever since.
No, that's awesome. And sort of Josh and I touched on a bit about, you know, you don't necessarily have to start on a specific path and not end up where you're meant to be. You don't have to have the best ATAR. No one really looks at the ATAR, you know, a couple of years out of high school anyway. So it's not even that big of a stress. I know that there is always sort of a bit of a misconception about working in the youth working industry. I know people think, you know, it must be really hard. You know, you're always working with kids. You must be glorified babysitters. I know when I was doing youth services, that was something I got a lot. You're always taking your work home with you. Like, is this something that's really hard, or it's definitely a misconception? How have you guys found working in the industry?
Look, it definitely has its challenges. Let's not sugarcoat that. But at the same time, it is just, it's so not that. Like, don't allow people to scare you away and going, no, it's too difficult and you'll become burnt out really quickly. And because it's so worth it. I don't think I've ever had so much joy or laughter in a job. It's just to be there, to allow people to, you know, basically enter their lives, allow you into their homes and things like that. It's pretty special.
Absolutely. Josh?
Yeah. Every time when I said that I got a new role at what I was doing, they're like, oh, that must be really tough. But I've found it to be so different to that. And like Maddie said, there's definitely times where it is challenging, but some of the projects and stuff I've worked on, like, we got to go surfing for 6 weeks. That was with 16 young people. That was awesome. And all those events around town, for the Warrnambool Youth Fest we put on, working with young people to do what they want to do. I mean, there's so many other things that you get to do within our role anyway. And even the one-on-one support, just seeing the growth in people from when you meet them for the first time. And it's great. Yeah. Just the positive outcomes that you get. I guess it's really rewarding.
Absolutely. And I think for a lot of these kids, having people like you guys in their lives is definitely a massive help with them. It's a massive support. It's almost a relief. So it's really, really cool that, you know, you get to go surfing. I'd like to go surfing for work instead. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, what have we done? Like horse riding. We get to go bowling, milkshakes.
So is that part of like a youth group, youth services, like a freezer group? What's that? How do you get to do all these fun activities?
Yeah, I know. So we're in the team that Josh and I are in, which is called Safe and Connected. We do a lot of generalist youth support stuff. So a lot of it is one-on-one. And that's basically asking the young person, like, what would you like to do? Let's get you out of the house a lot of the time away from the screen. And let's try and get into the community. And that might be, playing a game of 10-pin bowling, you know, just going to op shops, enjoying a meal out somewhere, just something a little bit different from maybe what their usual routine is. But then we've done a lot of project work as well, which I'll let Josh, he's been involved in some pretty cool projects.
Yeah, well, like I said before, the Stoked program it was meant to run for 6 weeks, but only ran for 5 because of COVID. But there was 16 young people in that, and it was really awesome to see them grow over the 6 weeks and challenge themselves to get out in the water. So that was awesome. The Warrnambool Youth Fest was a youth-led events crew. So I think there was 8 people in the crew, and we put on 10 events. There was like a skate comp. There was music tasters, like come and try. So there was like 6 people there, all playing different instruments. It was like we were in a band. It was pretty cool. There was what else was there? There was 10 events. A roller derby, So it was just awesome being able to see what young people could come up with. Yeah.
Sounds like you guys have got one of the best jobs in the world.
Cool.
But we do other stuff as well, like connect them with other services. We're telling you all the
It's
cool
not just the fun stuff. There is
Yeah.
also
Serious-
actual work to do.
Serious business involved.
Yeah, there's
Absolutely.
lots of actual work. Yeah.
Of course. And I think, yeah, you guys, I want to know about the atmosphere and the workplace culture that you've got at Brophy and what the support is like for you guys. Because I know for a lot of young people going into a workplace for the first time or starting out in an industry, it's quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose people that enter community services tend to be fairly, compassionate, empathetic people. And so an organisation full of people like that is just the most supportive workplace ever. I mean, not to mention Brophy has, your policies around we all get supervision regularly from our team leaders and managers. We get wellbeing days, so one wellbeing day per month, which is just incredible. And on the job learning, yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I find Brophy as an organisation, it's just awesome to work for, really. Like the wellbeing days, they take time in our staff meetings to focus on our wellbeing, different things we can do. There's just heaps that Brophy does to make sure that we're looking after ourselves. So it's a great, I can't speak for other community services organisations. I've only really worked at Brophy, but as far as Brophy goes, it's great. They really take care for their staff.
Absolutely. Maddie, I want to just backtrack a little bit. You've told us a little bit of your story about, you chose to go back to studying, you moved to the city, you did your studying. How did you know that you wanted to study youth services? And how did you know that this was the industry that you wanted to pursue?
So throughout the whole time that I was studying, I didn't know necessarily what sector of community services that I wanted to get into, because the community services is so broad. So you've got, your disability aged care, and youth work and lots of other amazing little niche things that you can get into. And I think this opportunity just kind of fell into my lap, luckily enough. This working for Victoria, as Josh mentioned before, the 6 positions that came up, I guess I studied community services because I'd always just been a person who people would approach and feel that they could just share things with me, that I wasn't necessarily like, okay, thank you for sharing that story of your life with me. And I thought, wow, I really could see myself doing this as a profession. And now that I'm in this role and working with young people, it is just incredible. Like, future generations are going to be awesome.
Amazing. Have you guys seen much growth amongst the young people that you've worked with from, where you first started out to where they are now?
Yeah, I would say yes. I would also say,
especially with the right support from you guys and all the different organizations you're able to connect them with, I think, yeah.
Definitely the more support, the better. But it just feels like with this layer of COVID on top of all of that, I have felt feelings of just sitting idle. It can be difficult to move forward sometimes, but yeah, there's definitely been amazing glimpses of progress.
Fighting an uphill battle almost at the moment.
Yep, that's it.
At the moment, it's tough, but definitely it's hard. Sometimes you don't see it as you're working with them, but then when you just reflect on where they've come from, there's definitely growth. There's been young people that I've worked with that haven't left the house for, some time, and now they're going out for walks and they're re-engaged in education and stuff. So seeing stuff like that's amazing. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't just be rewarding for yourselves, but also for the kids themselves. It'd be like, wow, look what I can do.
Yeah.
100%. And that's what I feel like our primary purpose is to let these young people know how amazing they are and that they've got so much to offer their communities.
No, it's fantastic. So thank you to you guys for working in such an amazing industry. Thank you to the Brophy Family and Youth Services for, donating your time to come and have a chat with me about who you are and what you do. And I think definitely more young people, especially I know when I was in year 12, are definitely looking at working in community services and in the youth industry. I think it's something that more people are becoming aware of, that they will actually make a difference. Small difference in the world, but big difference in people's lives.
No, that's right.
Young people are awesome. Just working. They really are. They've just got this great energy. It's awesome.
It is. It's
and once
infectious.
you start to get them thinking, nothing is too big and too small.
The ideas they come up with.
The ideas flowing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Thank you guys again for coming on today. Thanks to Yakvik for helping us connect with you guys. Lesson plans are of course available for teachers and students online. We do have another episode next week. Primary Care Connect, of course, we've got our little online website there as well. Here's one I prepared earlier, sort of thing. Thank you guys so much. And
thank you, Audrey.
Thanks,
have a great day. Get back to work.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.